And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I'm net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog net with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 2,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. That's KC9VKV followed by the word logbook. And we also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor Highlights, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. And these are some of our less technical and more human nature, philosophical kinds of QSOs. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on the selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. In addition, 2 of the 3 may be rotated separately. They are selected by a 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR, specially oriented resonant dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami, with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, this is an area of the band where we have many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, so I'd appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. Again, please, bandpass no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, and now let's check in and see if Charlie, K1GZL, is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim, very clear copy. Just about an S8 to about 5 dB over S9 direct. Of course, I do not have SDR capabilities, and you're coming in direct from extreme southern Indiana. Right now, the weather is 32 to 33 degrees, and we have very light rain and snow mixed. At the present time, it's slowly cooling down, and we only have 2/3 snow cover on the ground, and where it is on the ground, we have about up to 10 to 15 inches in those areas on the level ground. Those are areas that don't get as much sun and aren't blasted by the wind. However, for the whole season so far, we've had 172 inches if you add them all up from the time the snow began and in the beginning of the season. So normal for an entire season is 195 inches up here at 2,000 feet or 2,030 feet above sea level. But you're coming in very, very well. Captain Mike is on vacation, KX4WC. He'll be probably flying in about 3 more weeks. He'll be back in the air. So I have a very short, a few seconds of Captain Mike when he was in western Iowa, just after crossing from eastern Nebraska on his flight from Sacramento, California to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which he runs most of the time. So, back to you, Jim, and see how you do copy. KC9VKV, K1GZL, Clarksville, northern New Hampshire, 4 air miles east and southeast of the closest part of the Quebec border of Canada.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Well, coming through on Milford Gangbusters, I looked up there, so you're running about 35 to 40 over. So I know you're operating on less than ideal antenna there, but it's working well for Milford, Roger.
It's working well for Milford, Roger.
Okay, Roger. Here is Captain Mike. I think I recorded this about 1 month ago, a little bit over that, maybe a month and a half ago. Okay, we are.
We just crossed into Iowa. We're just right now about, we're showing about 70 miles west of Fort Dodge, Iowa here. So moving along pretty well here. And is Wayne still there? Did they figure anything out there? Go ahead.
Okay, and that was Captain Mike. I think he was at 38,000 feet on that transmission. And He's been flying for 32 years. Been flying for 32 years. Amazing. And enjoys it just as much as he did the first time that he started flying. Hope that came through okay. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie, just perfect, sir. And I was just curious, what you're doing there with Captain Mike is conducting a high-altitude HF radiation investigation almost every transmission, Roger?
Well, the only thing that he's really doing is maintaining the altitudes he has, and of course he has to be very aware of what type of conditions he is flying through. And generally he flies between 32 and 39,000 feet, between 32 and 39,000 feet. And of course when he goes from west to east, from Sacramento, California to the airport on the south side of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he has a nice tailwind. Usually, there are exceptions, but usually, however, the other way, he is somewhat blocked by westerly winds that he has to fly into. So in those cases, there are times, and also due to weather conditions, he has to navigate around storms. He has to navigate around storms so that he can get the smoother aerodynamic conditions during his flight. But it's a very interesting thing, and I would imagine that he has seen all kinds of very bad weather. But with the technology we have these days, he can pretty well circumnavigate the bad storms and take the smoother paths. Jim, go ahead.
Roger, Charlie. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you check in with Captain Mike and all of your knowledge. I was just curious, are you following any of the latest situations with the sunspots and stuff?
I understand there was a coronal mass ejection several days ago, I guess about the 27th of March, 28th of March. But I didn't see too much evidence of that on the bands. Although there might have been some quiet periods when this was going on, Jim. So it's just simply a matter of living with it. But it proves one thing. It shows one thing. There are many more of these ejections going on now than there were a year ago. In 2021 at this time. So we're obviously coming out of the dark, of the low part of the sunspot cycle and starting to build up. But how far we're going to build up on it, I don't know. And I don't know anyone who is really convinced on how far up it's going to go. Of course, the higher up it goes, the better the higher frequencies are, like 10 meters. And I remember when 10 meters back in the early 50s was extremely strong, in the late 40s, extremely strong. And during our winter, the European stations would just blast in, and all it needed would be just a couple of watts to work out all over the place. 20 meters would stay up open 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, 20 would stay open. That, of course, is not the case now. But let's hope, Jim, that we're on the rise, and the propagation will even get better. But we'll just have to wait and see. And But then again, I remember back in those periods when the band was hot, the bands were hot, when you did get a magnetic disturbance, they lasted longer, though, unfortunately, than they do seem to now. I've seen them last 4 or 5 days, almost a week, where conditions were horrible. Then following that, it was fantastic. That's when the fans were hot, 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 and you didn't need any power to talk all over the world, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Well, I remember my first, about 10 years ago or so, when 10 meters was just so hot that I talked to California about every morning. It's just amazing. Well, Charlie, let me say 73 to you, sir. Thanks for dropping by and keeping us abreast of all the HF information. Roger, Roger.
All the HF information. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. And we'll try to catch you next week. And hope you stay healthy and the nation stays healthy and the world stays healthy. So the very best to you, Jim. It's always a pleasure. KC9VKV, K1GZL is clear. 73, keep up the good work.
Roger, Roger, Charlie, 73 that way, sir. This is just a reminder of the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. We're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout, and we'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And that'll take you to our YouTube Qso-Vlog page, where we're currently featuring over 2,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. This recording will be cut number 1 in that series. We also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. And these are some of our less technical, more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs, which brings to mind one of my favorite segments called Something to Crow About, featuring Kenny and his master modulating rooster Henry. You'll have to check it out. KC9VKV Highlights on a YouTube search. So let's get on with it now. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
K2YN. Come back with the name, sir.
Come back with the name, sir.
Yeah, hello. I'll come back with more than that. You got the call right. Kilo 2 Yankee November. I was just tuning the band. You put the call out for check-ins, I thought I heard. Anyway, the name here is John, and we're located in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and that's in the northwest corner, way west. About 3.5 hours from the shoreline, in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Over.
Roger, John. I've been running 4 internet SDR receivers, and I'm picking you up like a 40 over on the Arlington, Virginia SDR receiver. Roger, Roger.
Virginia SDR receiver. Roger, Roger.
Oh, great. We're coming in somewhere. We're running an SDR radio, the Anon 7000. And the linear is an Alpha 8410, putting out about 13 on peaks, 1300. And the antenna is a dual 40-meter full-wave delta loops in phase, and they're pretty much looking at you. Over.
Roger. Well, I just went to my local antenna, which is full frequency down to 100 cycles, and your audio curve is just magnificent. You have activity down to 25 cycles. Looks like flat from 100 to 29 or somewhere in that vicinity. Just a very beautiful curve. Roger, what radio was that you're running?
We're running the Anon 7000 from Apache Labs. Over.
Roger, Roger, the 7000. Just beautiful. You have it tweaked just perfect, John.
Oh, thanks. I've been leaving it this way for a while. I have a tendency sometimes to try to optimize the system, but I'm pretty happy with this. Over.
Well, you should be. I just started off on my dipole antenna, and I have running 3 magnetic 10-foot vertical magnetic loops, and started off on my just my dipole, and then went over to my my 0-degree dynamic or resonant loop, and just even better. So I say you're somewhere around 30 over, Roger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a good signal. You're coming in strong here too, very strong. 25 over, I guess, when I looked up. But you know how the band goes up and down, so you're doing a killer job here. Over.
Roger. Well, John, if you want to see your audio, we are recording now, and we will be till 5, and we have a spectrum analyzer on the set, and you can see your audio curve on the spectrum analyzer. Just a word about it. There's a white mark on the right side of the spectrum analyzer, which is 100 cycles, and then there's 2 white marks on the right side of the spectrum analyzer. First one is at 1 kc, then there's a blank space, which is 2 kc, and then the next white mark is 4 kc. Roger?
Right. Hey, by the way, I didn't get your call. Go ahead.
Roger, it's Kilo, Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor. Name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we normally run this time on this frequency every Friday for tulips to help people do their transmitter setups. Roger.
Okay, Jim, very good. Very good. And it's nice to see you out there helping folks along. And I'm assuming you've paid your dues. So anyway, we've been licensed since '67 and have enjoyed the hobby 55 years. Ooh, I'm hoping for another 20 maybe. Over.
Roger. Well, you could be going downhill in the last 20 years with the signal you got, buddy.
Well, we plan to stay here at this house till doomsday. So, so the antennas, which I build very strong, hopefully will still be up. Over.
Roger. Now, these are dipole type antennas, long wires, or what?
No, these are delta loops. Okay, I have 2 delta loops, and they're fired in phase, and they're at 70 feet. They're called a broadside array, and they're looking at you. Over.
Roger. Now, what diameter size wire are you using in that antenna?
Well, for the support, 13-gauge copper-clad steel. That's the toughest stuff for the weight class. Definitely good. And 6-inch ceramic insulators on the ends. I got those off eBay. I don't know how often they show up. 10-gauge THHN coming down from each end of the top part of the loop. 10 gauge comes down and forms the triangle where the balun is, right in the middle down there, about 40 feet below the top wire. Over.
Roger, just doing a beautiful job. Your what is your ERP?
Well, I don't know about that.
What would you figure your antenna gain would be?
It depends on the situation, the location, all that. You know, over an isotropic 40, I'd give it 4 maybe dB.
Roger, just a beautiful signal. Beautiful signal. Thanks for dropping by, John. And again, we are recording, and so if you want to check out your beautiful audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, where we have 2,000 somewhat Qso-Vlog recordings. This will be cut number 1 on that YouTube search, and we'll have it up by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Oh, okay. I'll check it then. I look forward to it, Jim. Very good. So maybe you ought to put a call out there. There might be someone in the wings with a question. What do you think?
Oh gosh, I'm sure there is. Usually is. We, like I say, we stay usually pretty busy from 3:30 to 5. Roger.
Yeah, that's great. Well, 3:30, huh? Okay. Well, essentially, when I put my glasses on, I see we're 25 minutes in. Okay. Oh, by the way, the balloons I use are from Ballon Designs, LLC. And the quality is second to none. And, in fact, he's inundated with orders, so... But he's my favorite source. KC9VKV. This is K2YN. We'll see you, Jim.
Roger, John 73, sir. You have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. I'm trying to get Milford, PA back up again. I can't get a password from them folks, and so they have all kinds of rules and regulations about how long you can stay on, and then if you're in activity, they kick you off, and if you're too active, they kick you off. If you got fleas, they kick you off. But I'm good on repetitive sign-ons, sign-back-ons. So I've got Milford back up. Anyway, this is the KC9VKV Qso-Vlog net running from now live till 5. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Charlie 8, Whiskey Victor Golf.
There's a Kilo Charlie 8 station. Come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Kilo Charlie 8, Whiskey Victor Golf.
Whiskey Victor Golf, Roger. What's the name there?
Name is Will.
Roger, Will. And whereabouts are you located, sir?
Massillon, Ohio, Northeast Ohio.
All righty. And what radio are you running today, Will?
IC 7300.
Roger. Well, if you'd be interested in a setup procedure, starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, something you'll never hear on the air, but it helps us achieve our in-game, which is a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger.
QSL, I have the comp set at 3.
You have it set at 3 now?
QSL.
Roger. Okay, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and let me look around, see if I can find a better path for us. Right now, my local antenna, but I'm running also 4 internet SDR receivers plus 3 loops. So give me about 10 seconds to tell me about your antenna system.
All right, standing by.
No, I need for you to tell me about your antenna system, if you would, sir.
Okay, currently I'm using... band trap vertical that I modified to get 17.
Roger. All right, so if we have a compressor engaged at a 3, then let's move to our ALC with mic gain in hand. And the magic word is audio. And as you say audio, looking at your ALC meter with mic gain in hand, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
QSL. Audio. Okay, I'm like about 80% up on the ALC.
Yeah, that's close. Mid-scale to 2/3 is what we're looking for. And now, why don't you tell me one of the things you like best about the 7300 for a moment. Let me listen to your audio.
Okay, I had an old ICOM for years, 36, I think, ancient. So when I retired, I got more involved in the ham. Retired, I thought I'd move to research everything I could read on 7300. Looked like it would do what I wanted to do and not be something too big that I couldn't take either to POTA or something like that. And I'm very pleased with it.
Roger. Well, listening to you on my local radio, where it's very good frequency response down to 100 cycles. So you're pretty light on the low end. You could afford a little more bottom end if you would like. I would suggest 2 clicks boost on the bass. And let me hear you on that, Roger.
Okay, this is a base set at -1. It was at -3.
Okay, so you're -1 now. You were -3. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
All right, I would bring that up to 0. Bring it up to flat, and let me hear you there.
Okay, this is about set at 0.
Alrighty, and tell me something I don't know for about 10 or 15 seconds, and let me hear you.
Okay, well, besides amateur radio, my other passion as far as a hobby is photography. I love travel photography and scenic photography, cover bridges, and nature.
Roger, Roger. Okay, I would suggest even maybe a click more on the bottom end. You were really light there, so maybe one more click if you would, and I think you would still be nice and sharp EQ-wise, even with that one more click bass boost, Roger.
One more click, bass boost, Roger.
Okay, so this is now at +1, and a family, 5 kids, loving family around me all the time.
Alrighty, that's pretty good. It's still, it's still not heavy on the bottom end, but it's, it has more body to it than when we started, Roger.
Body to it than when we started, Roger.
Roger. I think I should boost it up any more.
Well, you might push it one more click. You've got room to do that. Like I say, you're still, on the top end side. We want to stay that way. I don't want to bring somebody down flat on that bottom end, because there's a lot of things that can happen to the signal that usually are detrimental to the top end of the audio spectrum, like phase cancellation and stuff like that, which starts its cancellation from the top and works its way down. So the first thing that you lose is all the top end. So for that reason, I don't want to suggest a really heavy bottom end, because when that occurs, then all of a sudden you have no top end and all this bottom end, so you become muddy. So, but you have, I think, a couple of clicks to expand on that bottom end, Roger.
To expand on that bottom end, Roger.
Roger. Just to give you some info too, my treble is set at +3 currently.
Roger, Roger. Now, I'm assuming that you're in the 100 to 2900 bandpass mode, Roger?
2900 bandpass mode, Roger.
Actually, I'm in mid, and I have that set 300 to 2500.
Yeah, there we go. You want to run that radio in 100 to 2900. It's such a beautiful radio. Could we ascend to run it in less than 100 to 2900, Roger?
Less than 100 to 2900, Roger.
Roger. Give me 1 second here. Okay, now I'm 100 to 2900 for the transmit bandwidth.
Yes, sir. Well, it just sounded like you opened the door and walked into the room. Just beautiful. Roger, Roger.
Just beautiful. Roger, Roger.
Roger, well, that's good to hear. I'm using a Heil ICM boom mic on this currently. I have a Heil headset and, of course, the stock ICOM mic, too. Would these settings work as well with those, or would they need fine-tune, you think?
You would need fine-tuning. Every mic is different, not only level, but the characteristics of the frequency response. So, we get you set up on this one. If this is what you normally run, I would think that, you just absolutely perfect with this microphone, Roger.
With this microphone, Roger.
Roger, well, that's certainly good news.
So, gosh, Will, you sounded so beautiful there, buddy. If you might happen to have a radio story to share with us, since your audio is sounding so beautiful, we really would appreciate that.
So beautiful, we really would appreciate that.
Okay, like I said, Wizenham, next year will be 20 years since I got my technician license. I had a brother-in-law that's, he's 72 now. He's been an operator since he went to Ohio State back in the late 60s and kept pestering me to get involved in it. I've been a CB operator way back when and finally decided to get it. He's been a bit of an elmer for me, and He just recently moved up to Vermont with his wife, so hoping to get up there. We can try to work some DX from up in his locale, maybe this summer or fall. But enjoy FT8 also, and been a Skywarn operator for about 10 or 12 years.
Excellent. Well, thank you so very much, sir. And we'll have this posted up on YouTube by noon tomorrow. Go to YouTube, do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook, and that will take you to this recording we cut number 1 of 2,000 some odd Qso-Vlog recordings. Roger?
Some odd Qso-Vlog recordings, Roger.
Roger, Jim. I appreciate the help, and glad I'm sounding good out there.
Yes, sir. You'll be able to hear the difference when you changed your bandpass to the 100 to 2900. And I'm sure you'll agree with me. It was like just walking through the door, Roger.
Like just walking through the door, Roger.
Roger. Well, I appreciate all the help, and I hope you have a lot more people call in. I appreciate the guidance you're giving everybody. So I'll say 73, maybe sit back and listen a little bit. Kilo Charlie 8, Whiskey Victor Golf with Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Have a good day, Jim, and a great weekend.
Roger, Roger, Will, 73, sir. Catch you later. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Net. My name is Jim, Juliet Indy Mike, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Net. We record now live till 5, and if you have a radio that you would like some assistance with as far as transmitter setup, that would be the time. KC9VKV listening.
KC9VKV listening.
Got a little bleed over down in Georgia, but up towards Milford we're clean. If anybody up in the Pennsylvania area would like to try to get in, now would be the time. This is KC9VKV.
Get in, now would be the time. This is KC9.
This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Net. We record now live till 5, so if you have a radio transmitter that you need a little setup on, we are available, and we'll be on the air from now until 5. And so, gosh, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Juliet Romeo in Maryland.
Juliet Romeo station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Whiskey America 3, Juliet Romeo. Whiskey America 3, Juliet Romeo. Roger?
Roger, Juliet Romeo. What's the name there?
Roger, Juliet Romeo. What's the name there?
The name is Joe. I'm in north central Maryland. I don't know, I might be too light for you to make any critique of the audio here, but you're a good solid S9 here, Jim. Thank you.
Yes, sir, I'm copying you on Milford right now. If you would, why don't you give me about 10 seconds to tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path. Roger?
And see if I can find a better path. Roger?
Roger. Well, actually it's two. I have two end-fed half-wave antennas, which is 71 foot in length. There's the takeoff point of each of those is 12 foot above ground. They're separated by 15 feet. They're feed points, and they're at right angles of each other. And I use one is a noise antenna, and I phase that against the other. When I say phase, I'm not doing it by magic, but rather with a
with the MJF noise enhancer is whatever it's called, the noise canceling system. Anyway, that's enough of the antennas. They seem to serve me well, though. But they're utilizing two NFETs like this as I have. I can null out noise or accentuate the copy on a particular station. There, I would imagine by now you got the right antenna, Jim. Over.
Oh, yes, I was on the right antenna to begin with. I was just looking around to see if I might be able to improve it, but you look to be about 10 over on Milford PA, so I'm going to hang right there. If you'd be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3 out of 10 or a 30 out of 100, Roger.
Or a 30 out of 100, Roger.
Well, yes, Jim, except that this is a Yazoo FT450 Delta, so there's very little I can do in that regard. What I have the gain, I can adjust the audio, the microphone gain is either low, normal, or high, and then there is the equalization. I have this set for zero equalization, that is flatline, hopefully throughout the spectrum. The issue here is the microphone. I'm trying to make the most of a unbranded microphone. It sounded excessively boomy, mushy, and so what I did, I got another element, and I more or less they're in parallel now, though with voltage divider, a little pot. I can share the load between these two elements inside the microphone. Do I sound excessively boomy or mushy, Jim? Over.
Well, you're missing the upper top part of your audio spectrum, and I'm not sure. Are you running electret mics or dynamic mics that you've got paralleled there?
Dynamic mics that you've got paralleled there.
Dynamic.
Roger. Well, I think that usually condenser mics have so much better articulation on the top end than dynamics. I usually run condenser. This is a homebrew condenser microphone. I just love the articulation aspects of it. But gosh, if usually by and large, dynamic microphones do need a little top end EQ boost to bring them up to get that articulation level up. I would suggest, what kind of equalizer does that radio run?
What kind of equalizer does that radio run?
Is it a 3-band or an 8-band or a 16-band or?
A 3-band or an 8-band or a 16-band or?
Sorry, Jim. I lost the use of my radio. What type of equalization do we have? It's just presets throughout. It's got 10 presets, and it's very little. It's a Yazoo entry point transceiver. Anyway, I was attempting to boost the highs on it, but then I was in menu mode and I went to transmit, Jim, and I lost everything here. WA3JR.
Roger. So would that radio have a high boost too?
Radio have a high boost too?
It's just 10 presets. They just call it equalization. So you have beginning with 0, and that's a flat line. Then there's you just select through the menu any one of these 10 pre-selects. You can't do any fine tuning or anything like that. It is what it is. The first position there is let's see, that diminishes the lows. There's another mid-range, and all that sort of stuff. I was going to select one here that accentuates the highs, and that might prove to sound better, Jim. Over.
Yes, sir, that's what it needs. I was just curious if you might have a high boost 2 mode or not. Your maximum, whatever EQ that presets have that has maximum top-end boost, Roger?
Maximum top-end boost, Roger.
Roger. Every time I go to transmit, I forget to take it out of the menu. I have boosted my highs with this selection. It's a relative selection number 4 on a scale of 0 to 10, and this is the most I can make of highs, Jim. Over.
Yes, sir. Now, about how far away from the microphone are you working it?
About how far away from the microphone are you working it?
I'm about 6 to 8 inches.
All right, pull that down to about 4 to 5 inches. Bring it to about 4 to 5 inches and let me hear you.
Bring it to about 4 to 5 inches and let me hear you.
Roger, Roger. With the tuner upper on frequency as well, but this is about, okay, maybe I was a bit further. This is close to 4 to 5 inches, Jim.
Roger, I'm catching a little sideband splatter, but I think that sounds really nice right in that area. You know, the whole thing is microphones sound differently as far as when you're getting closer to proximity, you know. So you got that top end when you went to that last position, EQ position, and I was just trying to get a little more on the bottom end, and I think that about 4-inch point does give you a little more bottom end to match the top end, Roger.
A little more bottom end to match the top end, Roger.
Roger. Oh, much appreciated, Jim. Thank you. Thank you. You know, what they call monitor mode. You know, I got the headset on. I'm listening just to the audio, but that's not the same as after it gets compressed and rolled around in the ionosphere and comes out someplace same. What I don't want it to sound like is that I'm talking to a vacuum cleaner hose or an empty paper towel dispenser room.
Roger, and that's the idea behind doing that 4 inches. You know, none of us really have the perfect studio walls and all that stuff, so it behooves us to kind of work close mic as much as we can there. So I, suggest 4 inches as being the outside limit, and we want to stay within 4 inches of the microphone. That way we avoid so many problems acoustically, Roger.
So many problems acoustically, Roger.
And Joe, I may have lost you there. I'm not really sure, buddy. Do you still copy KC9VKV?
Sure, buddy. You still copy KC9VKV?
Roger, Joe, I'm assuming that you had some kind of technical difficulties. Let me just pass along. If you want to hear your radio on the recording, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording, KC9VKV logbook on YouTube search, and we'll have it uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger, thank you, Jim. That'd be a good day on that.
Roger, Joe, 73, sir, and I hope you get your technical difficulty worked out. 73. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shot.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shot.
Station calling, come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
Come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. We are recording now live till 5, and if you have a radio that you need a little assistance with as far as transmitters set up, give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
I hear somebody back in there. Station calling. Try again, please. Come up on mic and try it again. Yeah, station cannot pull you out. You are just below my noise level locally, and also on the 4 internet SDR receivers. I would suggest, if you're running 100 watts and you're in the eastern part of the United States, you might check out a different antenna, because I should be able to have some kind of copy on you somewhere, somehow, you know. If you're running 100 watts and I'm not copying you, like I say, I'm running 4 internet SDR receivers spaced across the country there, and plus I'm running 3 10-foot vertical magnetic loops on my local antenna, and I'm not pulling you out. So I would suggest maybe go to a resonant dipole antenna or something. That would be a very efficient antenna. Like I say, I don't know what antenna you're running now, but I would definitely investigate a different kind of antenna, because that one is not being beneficial to you. So I would look at a resonant dipole antenna myself, which is what we're running. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
This is KC9VKV. We're going to call a couple of more times, then we're going to shut her down. So I've got stuff to do. If there's no work to do as far as setups, then we've got other things that we need to do. So we're going to try one more time. It's KC9VKV, Friday afternoon, Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you need to check out, give me a shout.
Radio you need to check out, give me a shout.
And nothing heard, so we're going to shut her down. We're going to say 73, and you guys have a good afternoon. This is KC9VKV, returning the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
Radio use, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, clear.